You know, Thanksgiving is just a couple of days away, and I'm sure that you, like most people, will not be celebrating Thanksgiving this year because you can't afford to. Turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, for God's sakes. Who can afford this? Not me. I'm sure you can't either. Things have never been this bad. This is the worst economy in the history of the world. Don't believe me? Let me read this article to you. This is from NBC News. Just came out today. The cost of this year's holiday feast estimated at $58.08 for a 10-person gathering, or $5.81 a head. Dropped 5% since last year. What? Dropped 5% since last year? Nah, that can't be. That's got to be a typo. Let me continue. The lowest levels since 2021. Okay, you're bullshitting me. The lowest levels since 2021, according to a nationwide survey of grocery prices by the American Farm Bureau Federation? No. No. Now, MAGA told me, Fox News told me that this is the worst economy ever. That prices have never been higher in the history of the world. So this cannot possibly be right. Let's read a little more, shall we? Quote, if your dollar had the same overall purchasing power as a consumer in 1984, this would be the least expensive Thanksgiving meal in the 39-year history of the AFBF Thanksgiving survey, other than the outlier of 2020. What? What? You mean this isn't the most expensive? This isn't the worst economy? So I voted for a criminal? I voted for a guy who tried to overthrow the election because I thought... No, of course I didn't do that because I'm not an idiot. But that's what tens of millions of our fellow Americans did, because they are morons. They voted for a guy who promised to end the Constitution, a criminal, a fucking convicted criminal, an adjudicated rapist, because they were mad at the price of their groceries. And yet, it's not the most expensive in the history of the world as they've been led to believe. Let's read a little more. A defining feature of the post-pandemic recovery and the 2024 election is the divergence between Americans' sour views of the economy and its underlying strength. Many shoppers understandably focus on price levels, the dollar value of the things they buy, rather than those purchases inflation-adjusted or real costs. The latter is the true test of affordability, since it reflects an often underappreciated piece of the inflation puzzle: wage inflation. And indeed, while Thanksgiving food prices are up 19% since 2019, according to the AFBF, federal data shows median household wages growing at about 25% during the same period. What's more, the average American also has to work fewer hours to buy the same meal than in previous years. Wages continued to grow faster following the COVID-19 pandemic, even as inflation cooled, because average wages rose 4% from 2023 to 2024. It took 9% less work time for us to pay for this year's Thanksgiving dinner. It would have been nice if NBC made these kinds of points about the economy before the election. Anyway, I don't want to belittle the fact that prices are still high and some families are still struggling, for sure. Not every, it talks about wage inflation, people's wages have grown, but that's on average. Not everyone's wages have gone up. And for some people, it's not easy. But the economy is not, as Donald Trump and his MAGA propaganda machine have portrayed it, and how the media largely was silent about. Did they ever correct Donald Trump or MAGA about their lies about this economy? No, of course not. So here we are. The country just elected a 34-time convicted felon adjudicated rapist who tried to overthrow the republic last time when he lost an election that he lied about and still lies about, because they were upset that this is the worst economy in the history of the world, when it's not. They were mad because they were led to believe lies. And that was all the fault of Joe Biden. Even though the American economy is the strongest in the world, Joe Biden got no credit for leading America through the pandemic better than any other country in the world. No, he got the blame for the Americans stupidly believing that this is the worst economy in history. If we are, in fact, in jeopardy of losing our republic, it will be because of the stupidity of the American people.